shout out to him for not giving me that raise because I wouldn't have been here.
True.
You know, so it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know,
Motivated you.
and the craziest part is, I can tell you right now, looking back.
Wait, my bad. Shout out to him for giving you the trainer position too, because you would have been
Yeah,
front desk.
you're right. Actually,
Definitely.
Actually, shout out to him for believing in me to be a trainer. Honestly, bro,
wild.
like, damn, I didn't even look that deep
It's like,
into it.
what other trainer
That's
can I
the
get for
first
10
thing I
bucks?
thought when you. Yeah, bro.
Shit, give me
crazy.
chills right now. That's
Yeah.
crazy, bro.
Alright, let's do it. Today we got Mac in the building. You already know, in the Miami Hustle.
So,
Shout out to Mac. Thank you for your time.
appreciate you
Yeah,
guys.
Of course, that's the most valuable thing.
Appreciate
Speaking of time, actually, because this is something that, people may not know, you've been doing this for years.
you. 9
Like,
years.
this is nothing new to you.
Yeah,
How long?
9 years in March.
9 years you've been a personal trainer?
Yeah, 9 years in March. I've been a personal trainer. I've had my brand now.
That's a long time, bro. That's amazing. Shout out to you for being consistent and
Thank you.
That's
persistent.
the hustle, for
Thank you,
real,
bro.
bro. That's the hustle.
Thank
That's
you.
the hustle that many people may not know about.
Thank you.
Now you see Mac, you know he's doing his thing. He's got a nice, nice name for himself. He's got good clients, but that didn't come out of nowhere. It's been 9 years in the making. So tell me a little bit about where you're from and how you started.
Obviously, I'm from Miami.
Hey, shout out Miami.
Miami. Kendall is where I was born and raised. Kendall.
Shout out Kendall. You already know that's the hood.
Yeah. The hood. So basically, long story short, started. So this is how it went about. So I was looking for a job to pay my bills. Right. I was still in school at the time. I was an FIU, and I was looking for something comfortable where I could kind of like still do schoolwork, but I can get money to pay my bills and handle my bills and whatnot. And bro, I saw on a website that there was a all women's gym and they were hiring like a front desk position. And I was like, this is perfect. I can still like study, do my work, whatever, while, I check people in. It's an easy job. And I go in for the interview, crush the interview. I'm like, I got this. I get a call like a couple hours later, and the owner of the gym's like, hey, look, we just hired somebody for the front desk, but we think you'd fit a trainer. You'd be great as a trainer. And I tell him, like, hey, look, I've never trained anybody. I don't know how to train. I don't really want to do that. I don't know if I can do that. I don't have the patience for it. Like,
No way.
and I basically turn it down. I'm like, but thank you for the call.
Yeah.
And he goes, all right, how about if we pay you more than the front desk position? And I'm like, how much more? And he's like, we'll give you $10.50. All right. And I was like, all right, cool. We could do $10.50. They're going to give me $9.50 for the front desk. So all right, bet, $10.50. So I go, but I don't have a license. He's like, that's fine. We don't say anything if you don't say anything. All right, cool.
Were you jacked?
So, yeah, I was already in shape. I've been working out, whatever. I was already in shape. And so he's like, yeah, you fit the part. You're going to school for fitness, and I feel like you fit the part. All right, cool. Come in the first day, have my workouts like written down. Right, I haven't written down a workout in like 8 years, 9 years. I haven't written down a workout. And I come in with my workouts written down. There's like 5 girls in a boot camp, right? And I'm nervous as hell because I've never done this before. And I end up running the girls to a boot camp. The girls love it. And to fast forward a little bit, like 2 months later, it goes from 5 girls in a boot camp to like 30 girls in a boot camp. That's how good it was. It just started popping off and everybody was talking about it. They're like, the classes are amazing. And classes got so big that we had to go from inside of the gym to training in the parking lot now, right? So big to the point where he ended up looking for a second location that was way bigger in order to like expand even more, right? Mind you, he's expanding into a second location, which I'm feeding because I'm the one training all the girls. At this point, I have a key. I'm closing shop.
What's the
I'm
gym
opening
called?
up. It used to be called JRB Fit. It was like a all women's gym, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah,
little
you
gym.
blew it up.
Yeah, like, bro, I mean, they put it this way, it was half like a dance studio and then it was half of a gym. There was more people at one point in the gym than there was in the dance studio, right? And which is crazy because this little gym was in Doral, which is now like, that's where I reside. That's where my businesses are at.
Yeah.
That's where like my whole network is at this
Damn,
point.
full
So like,
circle.
yeah, full circle, right? That's where I got my first place. Like when I moved out of my parents' house, the first place I moved to was Doral. And yeah, so I ended up training there. I was there, I want to say like 6 months, and people start talking and they're like, yo, so, I work at LA Fitness. I make 14 an hour. I work at Planet Fitness. I'm making 11 an hour. And I'm like, damn, bro, like I'm basically getting underpaid, and this guy's business is booming. This is crazy. So I'm like, you know what? Let me ask this guy for a raise. Like, I'm about to graduate from college with a 4-year, bachelor's degree in exercise science. I'm like, I can't be getting paid $10, $10.50 an hour. So whatever. Mind you, there was times where the owner would be like, "Hey, look, can I pay you like 2 days later? I'm kind of short right now," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm already getting paid $10.50. Like,
Yeah, bro.
is this crazy? So I remember one day I talked to him and I go, "Hey, look, I've found out from other people that work at like other gyms, like LA Fitness and like Planet Fitness, that they're getting paid more than me, and they barely train anybody. They don't have a college degree. They're not doing what I'm doing. They're not bringing in this type of clientele. They're not bringing." He's like, "Let me see what I can do. I'm money's tight because I'm expanding right now, right? I'm expanding.
Yeah.
I wonder why you're expanding.
Yeah.
It's crazy." So
Yeah.
he calls me in the next day. He's like, "I got something for you." I'm like, "Let's go. I'm about to get something nice." He calls me in. He's like, "Yo, I can do $11."
I saw that shit coming, bro.
You know what I mean? Like
It's
50,
disrespectful, honestly.
50 cents more. At this
And you
point,
were there for how long? A year?
I was there already like 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And at this point, I'm just like, bro, I'm so offended that I'm like, I'm just going to quit right now. Like, I'm just going to call it quits and I'm not coming back. And he was selling personal training packages, which is the craziest part. He was selling personal training packages on top of the group classes. And he was paying me the same hourly for those personal training packages that he was charging, like, I don't know, $400 or $500 a month or whatever.
He's pocketing that
Yeah,
and taking that straight to expansion.
99%, and he's taking it to the expansion,
Yeah.
So, so I'm like, you know what, bro? I'm just gonna leave this place. Like, I'm gonna call it quits. And my parents were like, yo, look, you can't quit until you find something else. You gotta be able to pay your gas. You gotta be able to pay your car. You gotta be able to pay the basics. And I'm like, all right, you're right. I'm gonna start looking for other jobs, right? So I started looking for other jobs, looking everywhere. Mind you, I had 12 jobs before this. I've always been working. I've always been hustling. I've always been paying my stuff. I've always been like on the grind. So I was like, here we go, job number 14, right? I'm looking for another job. And the craziest thing happens, and now looking back as I get older, I realize that, God's plan is actually a real thing. Like when people say God's plan, it's real, because a lot of things that I didn't understand when it was happening at the time, as things start to unfold, I realize, okay, this is why it happens. And then it starts making sense. And it's happening to me now more and more and more as I get older. Like those things are starting to reveal themselves. Like why? All those whys now have an answer. And crazy enough, that day I'm going to quit. I promise you, I have a guy come into one of the classes. And I'm like, hey, buddy, you can't train. Like this is an all women's gym. He's like, no, I already spoke to the owner. I'm the brother of one of the girls in the class. He said I can jump in this time.
I thought he was gonna say I identify as a woman.
Nah, this was before that
This
whole
is a
era.
long time ago.
Shit, man, I want to crop that.
Nah.
So, long story short, I end up letting the kid train in the class. The guy said it was cool, so he trains in the class. The class finishes. He comes up to me after, and he goes, bro, look, I don't know if you do one-on-one training, but I love the way you train. I would love to work with you one-on-one. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, bro, I need to get this money. Like, I got to figure out a way to get this guy to train with me without this guy knowing, I've never trained anybody one-on-one. I don't know how to structure that. I don't know how to charge for that. I don't know how it works. Like, I don't know. Like, everything was on the fly, And I'm thinking, like, where can I train this kid and not get caught, by this other guy, right? Because I signed, like, a non-compete. And I go, you know what? My parents have a garage, and they have some, like, weights there, like rusty, old-ass weights, like rubber bands, the basics, whatever. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it in my parents' garage. I'm going to make it work there. So I tell the kid, hey, look, I do have a gym. Here's the address. And give him the address to my parents' house, right, which is where I was living at the time. I was 22. And he goes, all right, perfect. How much is it? Bro, I cannot figure out, like, to save my life, how much to charge this kid. I can't figure it out, right? So I go, bro, look, let me get home and I'll send you a price, but I'm going to take care of you, right? So what do? I call every gym in Miami. Hey, I'm looking for a personal trainer. What do you guys charge? I'm looking for a personal trainer. And at that time, I'm thinking, I've always been the type of person, where I'm like, if I don't feel like it's right to charge somebody X amount, or if I don't feel like I'm providing that value, I can't find it in myself to charge that.
Yeah.
Like I won't do it, right?
Course.
So even though everybody was like, hey, I'm charging this, I was like, I'm gonna charge less than all these people, because who am I to be like, this is what I'm worth? Nobody. Like I feel like to this day that mindset has got me where I'm at, because it only makes you work harder to earn that value, you know? So I said, yo, $200. 200 bucks.
That's the opposite of scamming someone.
That's the opposite of scamming somebody,
Yeah.
correct? Which goes back to God's plan. You know, you do things right and it comes back to you, you know, tenfold. So I tell them $200, right? $200, yo, come Monday through Friday. That'll
That's
cover
for the
the whole
month?
month. For the
Okay,
whole month,
cool.
right? $200, mind you. I charge more than that per session now.
Yeah, I
So
know.
$200.
$200 is a steal.
Yeah, so $200 to this day. I'm still in touch with that client. You know, that was my first transformation.
Damn, yo, shout out to
We
him.
talk about it. Shout out to Joel, you know,
Shout
for
out to
believing in
Joel.
me. And so you do the math, right? $200 for the month, 5 days a week. That's 20 sessions. And at that time, I wasn't even keeping track of time because I didn't have other sessions that I had to have booked. So it was like, yo, this guy ran 2 hours on the clock. It was 2 hours on the clock. And most of the sessions, it ran 2 hours on the clock because it was
Goes
like,
over, yeah.
yeah, it goes over. So you do the math, it's really not 20 sessions, it's 40 sessions, right? 40 sessions, divide 200 by 40 sessions, you're paying $5 a session, right?
Mm-hmm.
$5 a session. So Joel trains with me now. I'm still working at that JRB Fit at that gym. And I'm doing all this behind the scenes. Nobody's allowed to know. Joel is training with me like, I want to say 2 months now, right? And his sister's like, yo, whatever you did with Joel, I want that too. I want to train with you too. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to give you guys love, right? I charged them 300 combined. So now it's 150 for each of them.
That's crazy.
Right?
And he really showing love.
Yeah,
Nah, for real.
So now you're talking like $2 a session, basically, right?
Yeah.
But at that time, I was like, $300 is $300. It doesn't matter what hours I put in. Like, it was $300, right?
Yeah.
So, which was crazy because you look back and you're like, bro, how much can $300 really change your life, right? But at that time, it was like, it was a lot of gas money. It was a lot of like, you know, taking my girl on dates, like 2 for $20 Chili's. Like, it did a lot for me, bro. $300 did a
Yeah.
lot for me. And it makes you appreciate a lot. So now I'm training Joel and Brittany. And I'm training Joel and Brittany. 2 months later, Brittany goes, I'm still training at this place, right? Brittany goes to a group class, and all the girls are just like asking, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing that you look like this now? You look amazing. You know, you've never looked this good. What are you doing? And she's like, I can't tell you here, but I'll tell you later, right? So later after that, she goes ahead, she texts all of them, lets them know, like, hey, look, I'm training at that time I wasn't even Mac. At that time I was Mark, you know, training at Mark's garage, right? So they're like, okay, whatever. They all hit me up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to charge them all the same. So I give them all like 150, right? All these girls that are coming from the dance place. And I'm like, but most important thing is you can't ever let anybody know that you're training here because I got to keep this job, right? Mind you, it's crazy looking back because I was probably making $500 a month at that job, you know, realistically. Like every week I was getting paid like 150, probably 125 every week. I was getting paid nothing. And so I end up bringing all those girls over. Fast forward about 3 months, that guy filed for bankruptcy. No longer has a gym, done. I get a death threat from him, like a text.
What?
Yeah, one of the girls let him know,
Talked.
like she spoke, right? She leaked it. And he was like, oh, I know you're the one that took all my clients. I know you're the one that took all my income. He's like, if I ever see you, just know, like, it's not going to be good for you. Like, it was just whatever, right? Fast forward, like 3 years later, he sees me at the gym, comes up to me, shakes my hand. He's like, yo, you're killing it, bro. Like, no, like, there's no hard feelings. Like, yo, you did your thing. Like, I can't even be mad at you.
Shout out to him for
Yeah.
keeping his emotions in check
For
and
real.
wishing you the best, honestly, because
Yeah.
some
And
people will let emotions get the best of them. So
what's crazy to think is, like, shout out to him for not giving me that raise because I wouldn't have been here.
true.
You know? So it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know,
Motivated you.
and the craziest part is, I can tell you right now, looking back.
Shit, my bad. Shout out to him for giving you the trainer position too, because you would have been
Yeah,
front desk.
you're right. Actually,
Definitely.
Actually, shout out to him for believing in me to be a trainer. Honestly,
wild.
bro. Like, damn, I didn't even look that deep
Like,
into
what,
it.
what other trainer
That's
can I
the
get for
first
10
thing I
bucks?
thought when you. Yeah, bro. that's
Shit, give me
crazy.
chills right now. That's
Yeah.
crazy, bro. He saw it before I did, you know. So shout out to him. But looking back now in my life, like, I see the biggest leaps I've taken or what's kind of like propelled me forward the most has been people that kind of do me wrong. You know, people that leave me hanging, or people that give me false hope or false expectation is what really has got me where I'm at. Like, I wouldn't even have my gym. I wouldn't have even thought about opening my gym if somebody wouldn't have given me a fake dream, you know? So it's like, that's another thing I realize now. Is like those things, at the moment, you're so angry and you're so upset because you're like, yo, how could this person do this to me? How could this person put me in this position, like, and just leave me hanging like that, you know? And then fast forward and you're like, thank you, I got it now. Like, I get it. You know, I understand like why it's like that, you know? Um, it's crazy, bro. You know, when you're in the moment, you're
That's
just
God's plan for real.
It's God's plan. It really is. And sometimes, like I said, you don't realize it until it's like I had to go through these trials and tribulations in order to really accept what I'm receiving or value what I'm receiving, you know?
Speaking of God's plan, did you have a lot of faith back in those days when you were going through what you were going through?
Crazy enough, I never was really big into faith. I was never really a big believer. I really wasn't. I had a lot of hard times in my life, a lot of like struggles, personal battles, um, you know, dark times in my life that I went through, and like I never really understood like why, you know. And at that time, I wasn't a believer. Like, I didn't at all. And um, 2 years ago was like the hardest time of my life, like the hardest. Like, 2 years ago, I questioned if I even wanted to do this anymore. I questioned if this was for me. And it wasn't anything financial at all. It was nothing financial. I had gone through my shoulder surgery. And like when I went through that shoulder surgery, it was 2021, December 2021. And it's crazy because this is when my business really took off. This is when I got my first celebrity. Shout out to Yuli. I love you, my brother. First
shout out
person,
to you.
Shout out Yuli, that's a real one.
first person that really believed in me.
Fighting
So,
next month, get your tickets.
Yep. So yeah, it was like one of the toughest times of my life. I went through my third shoulder surgery on the same shoulder. Bro, it set me back mentally big time because at that same time, you know, I was going through some personal stuff with my girl at the time, and it was just it was a really bad time because it was like I didn't really realize until that exact moment when you took fitness away from me, when I could no longer work out, that's who I was as a person. Like, I like became this thing where I was like tied into fitness. Like, without fitness, like I couldn't breathe. Like, I didn't know who I was without it. Like, it was an identity thing. You get me? So when you take away somebody's only outlet and you take away somebody's only drug that they've used their whole life to like get away from stress or get away from whatever struggles you're going through, it really makes you sit back and stare into like the mirror and see like, who am I? Like, if you take away Mac Method, you take away fitness, you take away the lab, you take away IG, you take away everything. Now sit in that dark place and see who you really are. You know, like, see, is this really who you are, or is this what you hide behind? You know, like, what are you? You know, what makes this? And then in that time, it was one of my worst times of my life. I remember Yuli actually calling me, and at that time, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was taking the Percocets that they had given me, and I was taking a lot of them. And it was like I just wanted to be numb at that point in my life. I wanted to be numb physically because I had a bunch of screws in my shoulder. I hadn't slept in like 4 days. I couldn't sleep. I would lean back. I would feel every screw going to my body. And I also didn't know, I was rushed to the hospital 2 days after that. I didn't know I had caught COVID during my surgery. So while my shoulder was open, I caught COVID. So that's why I was like, bro, why are the perks not working? Why is the nerve block they injected into my neck not working? Why are none of the painkillers working? It was because I had COVID at the same time. I didn't know. So everything was just amplified, like times 10. It was hard to breathe. It was like I had a fever while I had these fucking needles in my arm. It was just like everything times 10, you know? And I was completely isolated throughout this time because I had COVID. I didn't want anybody around me, and I didn't want to share with my family or anybody like what I was going through. So I kind of just like, sounds like masochism, but I kind of just sat there and just like absorbed all of it. You know, I took it all in and I sat there, and I remember at one point like writing on a piece of paper like who am I? Like what do I have? Like, what's my character? What are my traits? What are my values? Like, what is it? You know? And at that point in my life when I was like, bro, this whole Mac method is way bigger than fitness. Like, I am where I'm at in my life right now, not because I'm the best trainer, because I have the best workouts, because I have the best nutrition plan. No, I am where I am at life because I understand psychology. I understand people. I know what makes people tick. I know what makes people commit. You know, I know what drives people to keep going. you know. And when I was able to kind of push through that myself, bro, it just made me relate more and more to people who struggle to lose weight, people who struggle with that battle mentally, you know, especially people who are 300-400 pounds that can't give up addictions. It made me realize, you know. And a lot of people don't know this story, and that changed me as a whole. And to this day, my mom says it like, I saw I saw you change like throughout that. Like you're not the same person that you were, for good and for bad. You know, it definitely makes you colder as a person, but it definitely makes you more ambitious. It makes you, it gives you more drive, and it makes you value your purpose and who you are. You know, as a person, it for sure. You know, but yeah, when I got through that, bro, it's crazy. I had just met Yuli a month before that surgery, and I remember Yuli calling me. He FaceTimed me, all happy, bro. Yuli's always happy. FaceTime me, big ass smile, gold teeth. He's like, "Yo, how you hanging in there?" And bro, I was perked out, and I'm like, "I'm good." He's like, "You on those fucking perks?" And I was like, "Nah." He's like, "I know you're on those fucking perks." And I'm not gonna tell you what he told me because it was out there, but he basically told me like, you know, tighten up, like man up. There's way worse shit than this in the world right now, and like this is very minor, very little to certain things that people are going through in the world. And right then and there, I cut them completely. I threw out the rest of the perks that I had. I threw them away, and it's crazy, bro. I get chills like just talking about it
I'm getting
because
goosebumps right now.
it was crazy. That part of my life was just, it was crazy because I didn't think I was gonna make it out of that part of my life. And I remember throwing away the perks, and then I was already on them for 4 days. So when I threw out the perks, and I remember my mouth was like was literally trembling, my mouth, because I threw them away. And the next day is when I didn't know this was a thing. It was called acute withdrawal syndrome, right? So I had never even used to take Advil. Like I didn't take anything. Like I would, bro, nothing. I hated pills. I hated medication. I've always been about just natural and holistics. And so I was like, next day, bro, I was struggling to breathe. I felt dizzy. I was just getting cold sweats nonstop. So imagine, bro, I had COVID and I just hopped off the perks cold turkey. I just threw them away, and I'm like, bro, there's something wrong with me. I felt like I couldn't breathe. It was just the weirdest feeling. Like I really thought I was gonna die. Like I really thought. Imagine, I haven't slept in 4 or 5 days. Also, so you start to lose kind of like, you lose grasp of reality. You know,
Yeah, you're like delusional.
and delusional. So all my brothers are firefighters. I call my little brother and I'm like, "Hey, Chris, I don't feel right. I have this going on, this going on, this going on." He goes, "Listen, you're fresh out of surgery. You could have a clot. Call the rescue right now." I'm like, "All right." Call the rescue. Rescue comes in. They do an EKG. They put all the leads on me and stuff. And they don't want to tell me anything. They're like, "Let's go." Put me on the stretcher. They take me. And I'm like, "Yo, what's going on?" They're like, "Let's go. Like, don't worry about it." So my brother calls me. He's like, "Yo, put him on the phone." And I just hear my brother screaming at the top of his lungs to the medic. He's like, "I don't give a fuck. Take him in right now. Take him in right now. He's high risk of a clot. Take him in, whatever." The EKG was weird. Like, it showed like something was off with my heart. Like, something was weird. So they took me in. They did a bunch of scans. They did x-rays. They did all that stuff. They did my blood work. And they're like, "Hey, you have COVID. And on top of the fact that you have COVID, your white blood cell count is so high that it looks like your body's fighting something almost like cancer." Like that's how stressed out my body was. Like that's how defeated I was, right? And I remember the nurse coming in and she's like, "Yo, do you want me to give you Dilaudid?" And I'm like, "At this point, give me whatever. I just want to sleep." I told her it's been 5 days. I haven't slept. I haven't eaten. Bro, I was down like 10 pounds in 5 days. I'm already lean to begin with. I don't really have fat. Bro, it was terrible. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't look like the same person, you know? And I didn't feel like the same person. I wasn't the same person. Like, it was like you took Mark and you took Mac Method and you completely separated them. Who people know my face for on social media, that inspirational, motivational, you know, get through it every day type of person, was the opposite of what I was going through, you know. And long story short, the nurse told me like, "Hey, look, you just gotta relax. Like that's the only thing that's gonna fix this. Like there's nothing wrong with you. Yeah, you have COVID, but for your body to be reacting like that, for you to be that stressed out, for you to be having this type of blood work, like you gotta relax. Like you're having a panic attack. You gotta relax. Like the only thing you could literally do is relax." And bro, from that day forward, I was just like, "Bro, this is my head that's gonna kill me. Like it's literally my head." And nothing, bro. I went back to my place, and that's when I was like, "Yo, no more perks, no more nothing." I cleaned up, and from that day forward, it was like, I swear to you, it was nothing. I just got sleep. All I did was get sleep. I got like a good amount of sleep. Woke up the next day, and I was like, bro, I'm back, like I'm normal, like I'm regular. I'm not back, I'm better than before, right? And I promise you on my mom's life, I remember walking into the lab that next day, right? I hadn't been to the lab in a whole week because I had just came back from surgery, and I told my clients I was gonna take the whole week off. I walked into the lab with my sling. I walk in, and my cousin, Chris, he's my trainer over there at the lab. He's the head trainer at the lab. And I remember him seeing me, and he's like, yo, I can tell you're back. Like, he's like, I can see it. He's like, this is Mac right here. Like, this is Mac. I can see it. You're back. And I wasn't physically the same, but mentally, you couldn't tell me any different. You know, I was him. I was still him. You know, but I had to go through all that. Like, that week literally makes you question who you are, you know? And it's nuts because you hear stuff like this all the time. I remember watching a podcast that Michael Jordan's trainer, Tim Grover, he said, the issue is when people fall down, they get up. You shouldn't get up. You should stay down, really feel what the floor feels like, and remember that feeling so you never go back to that feeling. And that's exactly what I did without knowing that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, 100%. I agree with that. That's why when people say like get knocked down 7 times, get back 8. I don't believe in that shit. Like that sounds cool, but to me it's like, bro, if you got knocked down 7 times, why the fuck did you get knocked down 7 times? Think about why you got knocked down 7 times, and don't ever get knocked down an 8th.
Right.
Like that's the way I see it. And
why
that's
you
pretty
get
much
knocked
what
down
he's
6
saying.
more times after that first, you know?
Yeah.
Correct. That's how I see it. And you know, people have different perspectives and they have different beliefs on how it should be, but I feel like people will never truly learn or find out who they really are until they go through that dark time, you know, because that really shows you like, okay, am I really built like this? Am I really built for this? Or is something like this gonna set me back permanently? You know, and it lets you know like, all right, I'm him. Like that's really what it does to you. And I know every successful person, anybody who's done anything great has gone through that moment. They've all gone through that moment, all of them. Nobody can tell you otherwise. There's no way.
It's only through those dark times that the greatest transformations happen. Like adversity is the main thing that you need to go through. If you're shuttered in your house or you're not experiencing things,
Absolutely,
you're not gonna grow.
No, you're not.
And
not.
It's unfortunate that happened to you. That story's super powerful. Like that's a crazy story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Like only through going through that, now you're a different person. You went through that transformation.
No, absolutely.
That was only 2 years ago too.
It was only
That's
2 years
crazy.
ago.
Yeah.
So to get to where I left off before that, it's crazy. So that happened in December, right? And I had been 1 month into training Yuli. So now I'm back to training Yuli, except I'm in a sling. One arm is not going to stop me. I'm like, yo, I got one arm, but shout out to Chris. Bro, Chris held it down.
Yo, shout out to all the Chris's out there. You already
Yeah,
know
shout
your
out to
brother Chris, the cousin
over
Chris.
here.
Chris,
Fucking Chris is done.
Chris, my cousin, bro. That's my brother right there. My boy, Chris. Shout out to you, man. He held it down. And Chris, at 19 years old, bro, fresh out of high school, had no idea what he was doing. Took notes, and I told him, hey, do this, and you'll be great. You know, and now Chris even has his own celebrity clients, you know, at 21 years old. So he's killing
that's
it.
amazing.
That's huge.
Killing it, bro. And
Yeah.
so Chris helped me out big time with Yuli because he really helped, like, you know, set up the workout, show Yuli what we were doing. And fast forward 2 months from that, I was still in a sling. I'm walking with Yuli down the, you know, down the, whatever you want to call it, down the stage with Yuli to a bare knuckle fight, you know, televised, crazy. I'm in his corner with him. It was a crazy event, bro. It was a crazy time. I was with him in the locker room, getting him right. And he won that fight, you know. He won that fight, so that was really big for me. And it was really big for me in a lot of ways. It was really big for me personally because it let me know, like, one arm, no arms, like, I got it, you know. Like, I'm able to get this done. Like, it's what makes the man is more his mentality than anything else. You know, that's what allowed me to realize, like, you know, I can get through anything. And then also the fact that he won that fight kind of let people know, like, yo, he's the real deal. You know, he shouted me out, bro. That I can't even tell you how many times, bro, he shouted me out and he let people know, like, yo, he's next. Like, he literally told me, I'll never forget this. He told me, he showed me another trainer, a trainer that trains pro UFC fighters, trains actors, trains other people. And I swear to God to you not, he told me this 2 years ago. He goes, yo, you're next. And not only are you next, but I promise you're going to be bigger and you're going to be better than that. I promise you. And he was the first person to believe in me and tell me that. And Yuli, bro, he basically put me on, bro. Like, any platform you could think of, he was like, hey, come here. He would literally grab me. Yo, this is my trainer, Mac. Like, this right here, this guy. And he really vouched for me. And that's where the domino effect started. And now other people believed me because Yuli believed in me. So Maffio hit me up like a couple weeks later after that fight. He won. Maffio, big time producer, works with Akon, Pitbull, Nicky Jam, one of the biggest in the game. And Maffio hits me up, hey, I'm interested in the transformation, just like that. I see it, I'm like, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm getting a DM from this guy.
Yeah.
Get a DM from Maffio. Maffio crushes it his first couple months with me. Next one up, I get a FaceTime from Russian, right? Russian, big time producer, one of the top producers in the world as well. Russian hits me up, yo, I've heard about you from Maffio, interested in training. All right, perfect. I got Russian in there. Russian's killing it, putting in work, boom, 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 whatever. Next thing I know, I get a phone call, somebody else, Anthony, shout out to Anthony, Ant, K9, hits me up. He's like, yo, Yasiel Puig wants to come by and check out the spot.
Yo, shout out Puig. I actually used to train with him.
Really?
Back in the day, yeah.
Say less. Calls me. I'm like, yo, say less. Pull up. Perfect. He pulls up. Mind you, all this is going on, and I'm the one-arm trainer. All right? I'm still in a sling. You see all these, bro, I was on podcasts in a sling.
That's wild,
I was training my first celebrities in a sling. I was getting it done. And I almost feel like that sling was like my lucky sling. Like, I almost feel like they were like, yo, honestly, this kid's got the dog in him if he's out here still doing this with one arm. Like, I respect it, He's building it, I respect it. Mind you, all of this is going on, and I'm building my second gym while this is going on. Like, I'm in the middle, sacrificing every dollar in my bank account once again.
Oh, so now you're hitting that expansion, the one that the other guy was trying to hit.
Exactly.
That's wild, bro.
So now I'm hitting the expansion, right? Damn. So it's crazy, right? So I'm putting it all on Mac. I'm literally, bro, betting everything I got on myself, letting my account get to zero like I always do, and just going all in on myself, right? And it's always paid me back, always, and then some. So this is all going on. I start getting other celebrities. I start getting other people. I had Justin Jefferson in July in there as well, working out. I actually just dropped a video with like all the celebrities I've had in the lab. I just posted it on my page. I've had Phantom in there, Bad Bunny's producer. I've had a couple people I'm not allowed to talk about that have been in there. I had to sign NDAs. But yeah, bro, I mean, all of this with one arm, like it didn't stop me. A lot of people, right? The biggest concern for my clients and my parents and my boys and people that cared about me was, what about your business? Like, you're a personal trainer. Your business is nothing but physical, right? It requires a certain level of physicality, and you're going to go into surgery. Like, what about your business? What about everything?
Yeah.
And I was like, yo.
What else can you do?
I'm like, I'm going to figure it out. And I remember telling a couple of people, like, look, I'm going to have Chris help me out. And people were like, bro, he's a kid. You can't do that. He's a kid. And I'm like, I'm going to make him a man real fast. It's going to happen. And guess what? When I started doing this, I was the kid too. So it's like, I believed in him the same way people believed in me, and energy is real, and it happens, and it happens. And it's just, and the crazy part is like, I'll be honest with you, I'm probably not even going to be in the lab next year. I told you guys this, and it'll be his. He'll have.
Amazing, bro.
Yeah.
That's
so.
crazy,
but like we talked about off camera, what I like about that is that you're also evolving into a bigger, better you, because you went from owning a gym to now owning another gym, and now handing it off to someone to take care of that as you go on and expand your business.
Correct.
And that's crucial when it comes to like somebody that's building a business. At first, it's a lot of work and a lot of hours, let's say 60, 70-hour work weeks, grinding on your business and yourself, and you're self-employed at the end of the day.
Right.
One of the hardest things to do is separate being self-employed to then being a CEO, to then be able to manage your business as it continues to grow.
Correct.
So shout out to you. Shout out to Yuli again. Yuli's a real one. I feel like he's a blessing and an angel in many people's lives.
100%.
Not just yours, but many people. And I feel like everything happens for a reason, for sure.
No, I agree.
Just your story is very, impactful and inspiring. And what I've gotten from it is that a lot of your story comes from your mindset. And
Absolutely.
No matter what you're going through, your mind stayed strong, even when you're training people in like a sling. So where did you get that from? Is that something that you always had, or just because of what you constantly had to go through, it kept building it? Or are you into like personal development, reading books? Like,
none of that.
How did you get to where you're at mentally?
Personal development was life for me, but honestly, my upbringing between my mom and my stepdad, that was it, right? So you had a lady who, from day one, she was a single mother at one point, and she was hustling for me and my brother. She worked nonstop, endless hours. I remember a lot of the times we had a babysitter that would help out. My mom was always hustling. We lived in a 1 bedroom for a little while, me, my brother, and my mom. So my mom's always been a hustler, like always been a go-getter, always. And then she met my stepdad when I was around 8 years old, 9 years old, and he was a Marine. So now you have the discipline combined with the work ethic. It's like if you just take in 50% of it, you're gonna get something out of it, you know. And when I was growing up, I bumped heads a lot with my stepdad. Like it was a lot of bumping heads. It was just like he wanted to implement a lot of structure on us. He wanted to implement a lot of discipline, a lot of work ethic. And at the time when you're young, you don't understand that. You're just like, bro, this guy's an asshole. You know, like this, you know. And honestly, looking back now, and my mom says it all the time, she's like, you have a ton of traits from him. Like what you do now as a business owner, as a man, like it all comes from what he used to do. Like he used to teach you and the way he used to push you, you know. I remember him taking us to, me and my 3 brothers, he would take us to Miami-Dade, the college, and we used to run with the sled on at 9, 10 years old, you know, weighted sled, weighted vest, you know, and it was like, I remember crying, me and my little brother, like, I hate this. Like, I want to be home playing video games. I hate this, you know? And then you don't even got to fast forward to now. You can fast forward to high school, and I'm running the sled on my own now at Tropical Park at the Hill, and you're trying to convince other high school kids, like, yo, let's go to the sled, let's get this work. And they're like, what's wrong with you? And now it's like, I'm the one telling them, let's go do it, you know? So, yeah, bro, shout out to my mom, shout out to my stepdad, which is like, he's my dad, you know? He's been my dad for the last about 20 plus years. That's definitely been the biggest impact on pushing through and getting through this. And I feel like every time I feel like I'm going to have a moment of some type of weakness or, you know, breaking point, I think about my mom, like, bro, my mom wouldn't fold like this. You know, my stepdad wouldn't allow this. It's like, what am I doing? You know, I can't fail her. I can't fail him. Like, I can't. So, and I know they're proud of me. I know they're extremely proud of me now, you know, especially very early on, doubting this. You know, they thought it was a joke. I remember my dad telling me, hey, 3 months in, 4 months in, hey, get out of the garage. Go get a real job. There's no 401k.
Damn,
there's no insurance.
That shit hurt?
At that time, I didn't really take it personal because I didn't know how serious I was going to take this.
Yeah,
I was only 3-4 months in. Like, you know, I just remember telling him, like, bro, I'm able to pay all my bills right now. Leave me alone. Like, why are you trying to kick me out when I'm comfortable right now, you know? Yeah. And I remember at one point, he was even like, yo, starting tomorrow, I'm taking all the weights out of the garage. Like, I need you out, like that. Yeah. And him and my mom even argued because she was like, yo, like, let him leave little by little. Like, don't just kick him to the dirt, you know? Like, don't just do that. And I remember them sitting down with me and being like, yo, you graduate from college in a few months. You need something with security. You need something worth your college degree, which is crazy. They said I need something that was worth my college degree.
Personal training, isn't that? Right? What do you go into with that degree? I would think personal training, right? Or no?
Nah, personal training is just like a license or a certification you can get online. With the degree I use, you go into like physical therapy assistant. It was really a stepping stone to get into like PT school, like doctorate, you know?
Gotcha.
That's what it was for. Or athletic training, which was a master's degree, right? So, which is crazy because I have friends that ended up going to PT school, became doctors years later, friends that went to athletic training, got a master's, and a lot of them have actually come to me like, yo, let's work together, let's collab, are you hiring, you know, like, so it doesn't matter, you know, it gets to the point where you can have whatever title you want. If you don't have that work ethic and if you don't have the I call it the it factor, which people like to say, if you don't have the it factor, it doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter how much papers you have behind your name. It doesn't mean anything, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you can't blame your parents. That is the mentality like that they grew up with. That's the only way that you could have made it back then. Yeah.
Like Cuban parents, their parents came from Cuba with nothing, struggled with nothing, very conservative, play it safe. My parents are part of the system. My mom works in a bank. My dad's a firefighter. So it's like they work for the system, you know? They don't have anything else.
To them, like, we can relate. We're Cuban American too. So to them, like, I get them because that's success to them. When you come from Cuba and you don't have any of that, to be working in a bank, to them is like big time. Like, it's a big deal. And they have kids and they're taking care of their kids. So they want to see their kids do the same. But something that they may not understand, and like, just from my parents, you know, sometimes is, since we were born here, we got to see a lot of what they didn't get to see. So we get to understand more of the city. We get to understand more of where the opportunities really are, and that it's not just all about getting a degree and then going to work for somebody. Because you could be your own boss. You could be your own person if you take, you know, a different path.
Correct.
So it is what it is, but it's a Cuban mindset. Like you gotta get something stable, you know. So how did that go for you? Like you started building in the garage, and then he said, "Yo, I'm gonna do something else."
So,
and then is that what forced you to get your own gym, or not yet?
Honestly, yeah, it was. Like they gave me a
Damn, bro,
timeline.
that's crazy. That really is like
Yeah, I'm
it
telling
seems
you.
like something always happens in your
I
life to
cannot
get you
make
to
it
be
up.
like, look,
Bro,
this is your next move.
I cannot make it up. I'm gonna tell you guys something crazy, like off camera, which you're gonna be like, yo, why the fuck are you even here right now? Like if I told you this, like I promise you're gonna be like, yo, and you can tell people like later on, like people that come on here, you can tell your boys and all that shit, but like, bro, it's so crazy. Like I promise you, what I tell you after this is crazier than anything I'm gonna say on this podcast.
Oh damn, you're not gonna
We gotta
say
end
it
it now. What the fuck?
I can't say it, bro. It's something so
No,
personal.
yeah, for sure.
I want to talk about Adin a little bit because some people will say that I look like Adin. I don't know, but but I know he moved down to Miami, and it's great to see him on his personal health stuff because he's young. He's 23 years old now, so he has the world ahead of him. And I think the most important thing that a successful person can have or can be is healthy.
Correct.
So shout out to you for being his trainer, and shout out to him for wanting you to be his trainer and really pushing him.
I mean, honestly, look, anybody can kind of like try and influence you or try to like push fitness on you. But I think until you make that shift in your mind on your own, you're not going to commit to it. And I think with him, it's something like, hey, look, I know that taking my health to the next level is going to take every other angle of my life to the next level. And, you know, we've had talks about his health and, you know, how serious it is to him and how he wants to inspire others. And that's the biggest thing. You know, he knows his platform, he knows the power of his platform, and he knows that him taking his health serious and him prioritizing, you know, being in good shape and how it affects your mental health and all that is going to go ahead and motivate tons of other people. You know, it's going to happen. So, you know, shout out to him, bro, for using his platform for a positive reason and to really influence people in a positive way, because you know how much negativity there is out there. So, and one thing that's really big, and this nobody can argue, is you being in your best shape. You cannot compare the level of success you're going to have to you being in bad shape or bad health. It's night and day. Your level of success with everything in life is night and day when you're in amazing shape versus when you're in bad shape. Your productivity, your self-confidence, your motivation, you know, your ambition, your inspiration, everything is just that much bigger, that much better. You know, you have more, it's as simple as having more energy to get more done. So that's where health comes into play. And it's like nowadays, you know, with all the education we have and all the knowledge we have, people are starting to see the trends with like success and having good health. It's just a thing, you know, like everything starts from within and then it just radiates out. So I think he realized that and he understood that, and that's the mission. You know?
That's amazing. Shout out to him for doing that and inspiring others, because that is the biggest thing. Like when you have a platform, I think the most powerful thing that you can do is inspire others to be the best version of themselves.
Correct.
So shout out to Adin, and I don't know, I'm gonna be a little selfish, but I think him moving to Miami had a lot to do with his health and fitness. When you're in Miami, you got to be on point. You got to be, you know, there's a lot of good-looking people out here. There's a lot of opportunities. You got to be ready. You got to look right.
Man.
You got to feel right.
I heard Mac Method was out here, so came and got.
Oh, that's probably why he moved to Miami.
I got to
Shout out Mac Method.
Besides it being the greatest city in the world, but
yeah. How did that link up happen? Like, was it a random thing for you?
So this is how it happened. One of my clients that also got amazing results just so happened to be his barber. So shout out to Billionaire Barber. Jose.
Billionaire Barber, he's gonna be on the show too. I haven't reached out to him yet, but I've been following him.
You gotta get him on here, bro.
Yeah, no,
he's big time.
Bro, trust me, I've been following him. And shout out to Billionaire Barber, because I've seen recently, I don't know why, but he's all into health now, all into fitness. Maybe it's because he met someone named Mac. I don't know. But I see him, bro. He's grinding, and he's just like Adin, where he has a platform and he has his business and he's successful.
Correct. But
now he wants to be healthy, not only behind the scenes, but show everybody. Again, shout out to Billionaire Barber. He's showing everybody what it takes behind the scenes to get healthy. Exactly. And I love that, bro. Like, that's what the hustle is about. Because like you said, you could be successful, but you got to take care of yourself too. If you don't take care of yourself, your success is limited.
And it's not a coincidence. His brand has gotten bigger, more known. His business has taken off even more since he got in shape. You know, people just, when they see that you have a consistent regimen and they see like, man, this guy is locked in every aspect, because it's true what people say, how you do one thing is how you do anything. They really start to follow you and they lock in with you. And it gets to the point where he says this all the time, and it's true. They can't deny your greatness. And when people can't deny your greatness anymore, guess what? They want to join. You know, it happens. So they start following, and you make something off of that, you know? But my guy Billionaire, he started training with me. A few months in with me, everybody's seen the transformation. He's gotten crazy results. He looks amazing. He is Adin's barber, right? So he's talking to Adin. They're discussing health or whatever, and he's like, "Bro, look, this is how I used to look. This is how I look. This is my trainer Mac," and that was it. That's all it took. You know, he saw the work. The work just spoke for itself, and he was like, "Yo, set me up, plug me in, and let's do it." Next thing I know, I meet up with Adin, and bro, it was like I had known the kid before. It was organic, you know. We linked up, and all I know is 1 week later, bro, we're in LA, and then we're in Australia a couple days after, just like that.
I was gonna say shout out to Adin again, because he's, just so you guys know, he's taking his trainer with him when he goes and travels to places, and I think that's a huge thing. Like, personally, I didn't know people do that, but to have your trainer with you as you're working shows a lot about who you are.
Yeah.
It shows that even though I'm out here, you know, making business moves and getting money and doing what I have to do, I also have my guy right here that's gonna train me. Like, that's big.
No,
and I'm wondering, like, how into fitness was he before he met you?
Zero. Like, he was not into fitness at all.
Shout out to you then.
Yeah,
for sure.
He was not into it at all, bro. He was not into it at all.
He's about to be a fucking beast.
He is.
He's 23 with bro. You as his trainer, bro. Like, and again, if he's taking you places when he travels, bro, I'm excited for him, because I feel like he's gonna be
excited for you, bro, because that's a fresh canvas. It's like you get to paint that picture from scratch. Like,
I say it all the time. Like, sometimes a client with no experience is better than a client with experience, because they don't have any bad habits.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot easier to break habits and bad technique and bad form and all that. I mean, when you have none of that. You know, when it's a clean slate, it's a lot easier to start with that. So, bro, he had no experience, like nothing. You know, like, I can tell you right now, when we first started the first day, and I'm glad I took videos, and, you know, we've been documenting it and all, bro, he could not barely lift like 10-pound dumbbells. Like, he was struggling with 10-pound dumbbells. Now he's moving 50-pound dumbbells. You know, we're talking about in a month, you know, less than a month, he was already moving 50-pound dumbbells. Like, it's crazy. But that's how locked in he is with his diet, his recovery, his training, like, never missed. And I'm talking about a kid who will stream until 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, still get up at 5 p.m. we're training. You know, he doesn't miss. Like, whatever the case may be, 6 hours sleep, 8 hours sleep, it doesn't matter. He's training. You know, we get it done. So he's really about this. He's really locked in. It's not a joke. Like, he's not doing this for streams and views, and he is locked the fuck in. Like, it's going to be crazy. In 90 days, he's going to change people's lives with that picture.
I love what you said about that, because when you're a streamer, it almost seems like most of what you do is for the views, for the streams, for your business, you know, all that. But I love how, like you said, and from what I've seen, he's not the type to, I'm going to post my workout, or I'm going to let everyone know that I've been grinding. He does it in silence, and I respect that.
One thing I like about him a lot is, like, you can't put a price on him, like, on his head. Like, you cannot put a price. Like, I've seen him be like, I'm not doing that stream. I don't want to do it, you know, and it's like, it could be an absurd amount of money. He doesn't give a shit.
That's powerful.
He's like, I'm not doing it, you know, and that's one thing that I respect about him a lot. And that's why it's like, you know, look at him, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, he's working out, you know, like, you got to see you can't say anything about his character. Like, he's really doing what he said he was going to do. He's standing on business, and bro, he's a young kid, but he's locked in.
Yeah. That's what EJ says a lot. He says, like, you want to talk about Exit Velo, how you said that pretty much no one can buy him out.
I'll never sell my soul. It doesn't matter. There's not an amount of money that you're gonna pay me to do something that I wouldn't want to do myself. Like,
100 million.
100 million. You gotta show me that I'll love it. Honestly, there's no way.
Shout out to my boy here.
That's solid.
Shout out to my dog.
But Exit Velo was my podcast that eventually will end up affiliating into the Miami Hustle as well. It's just, you got to hit Exit Velo to hit that point where you can say fuck you to anybody that honestly you don't want in your life. And Exit Velo is, we played baseball. The way that you calculate the speed off the bat is called Exit Velo. But Exit Velo, I love space, is also like the number that you have to reach in speed to exit the atmosphere. And once you exit the atmosphere, nobody can hold you back, though.
That's fire. I like that.
Go. That's what. Exit
Fire.
velo, bro. That's
Exit
really what
velo.
it is, though. When you hit that point, nobody can. For example, if Aiden didn't hit exit velo, or if he wasn't like that, then somebody could throw in a price and say, "Look, I want you to do this at this time with this person." If he didn't have that power, he might do it,
It's
even
true.
though he doesn't want to.
It's true.
So I think that's really cool that he's able to just move his own way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Definitely.
That's what's up, man. I mean, I'm excited for everything that you're doing and everything that you're going to continue to do. So I want to ask you, where obviously it's December 27th, so fresh off Christmas, right before the New Year's. What's your 2024 looking like? What are your new goals, and like what are you trying to be at, like, let's say a year from now, 2025?
Bro, honestly, I get asked that a lot, and it's always the same answer, bro. I've had the same goals for the last like 9 years since I started my business, and it's just every single year I want to beat out the year before. I want to be able to transform more lives. I want to be able to increase my I guess my audience, my platform, to be able to inspire more people. You know, um, and at the end of the day, I mean, I just want to keep making my family proud, making my mom proud, making my stepdad, making my brothers proud, and keep inspiring. This is a big one. Keep inspiring kids or trainers or the youth that anything they want to do, that they're passionate about, that is their purpose, if they believe in it and they're willing to sacrifice, put in the time, and willing to, you know, do whatever it takes, bro, and willing to really believe in themselves, they can accomplish whatever they want. So I feel like I get all types of messages. I get messages like, "Oh, this transformation inspired me to get healthy. Oh, this post that you posted of the McLaren inspired me to go harder." Like, to me, the best ones I get are like, "Yo, my parents doubted me, people were doubting me, and seeing what you've done with your career path, seeing what you've brought to life, it inspired me to be a personal trainer and say, fuck what everybody says. I want to be a personal trainer for life. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm not gonna say, hey, I got a plan B, or hey, you know what? If I'm not a personal trainer, I'll go back to being a teacher. Like, no, this is all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go all in. I've had people literally DM me, hey, I changed my career path. I did nursing school. I was 2 years as a nurse. I hated it. I saw you doing what you're doing, and I changed my career path to being a personal trainer. Threw away the degree. Didn't even use it. Because they're like, you showed me, like, through your story, like, it could be done. Like, it can be done. So for me, my goals for 2024 is to be able to inspire more people, be able to touch more people, and basically be able to let other people hear my story and grow from it and be inspired from it and be able to do what they want to do. Because I can tell you right now, like, even with all the ups and downs and having really low lows, there's nothing in the world that beats being able to wake up and do what you love and know that it's you. Like, being able to be you. Like, you can't beat that.
Yo, shout
Fire.
out to you and shout out to all your success, bro. Like,
Thank you,
we're
bro.
coming up on time, but we're gonna keep following you, and I encourage everyone that's listening to follow Mac Method Fitness. Where else could they find you?
You can find me on IG at Mac Method Fitness, and that's pretty much the only platform I'm on.
All right, perfect, bro. We're gonna keep following you because your story's been crazy so far.
Appreciate
But
it.
the beautiful thing is that it's about to be like on another level of crazy in a good way. Because you're about to open up your third gym. You just got another, or you're continuing to get big, celebrity clients, and that's gonna only bring you more celebrity clients, more people, and more connections, bro. Like, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for all your success.
Thank you, bro. Yep. God's plan.
Strap up. The rocket ship's about to take off.
Yes,
dog.
sir. God's plan. Hey, shout out to Mac Method
Sir.
Fitness. You already know.